sounds good.
Look it up. Contest of Speed. There's a channel. And it's on the secondary account where it gets uploaded. Down here.
I'm gonna go next slide now.
Oh, it's raining.
Is it?
Alrighty.
It's only lightly raining.
Yeah, light rain.
I just want to double check that the audio's properly working, because I've had trouble. Yeah, okay, so the audio is working fantastic. So, the chat's up, the stream's up, we're all good to go. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 8 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. It's time for the Austrian Grand Prix here at the Red Bull Ring, a 4.32 kilometre 10-turn racetrack. It has the least amount of corners out of any racetrack on the Formula 1 calendar. In saying that, it has plenty of overtaking opportunities, most notably at turns 1, turns 3 and turn 4. As they immediately come after DRS zones and then heavy braking zones as well. So they are ample opportunities for drivers to try and pass. The rest of the track is pretty much follow the leader sort of stuff. Got a technical second sector, coupled with the final 2 turns on the racetrack, turns 9 and 10. Somewhat a haven for warnings in qualifying and in the race. And I'm not alone in the commentary box. I've got a new partner with me, a good friend of mine, KD1997. It's a pleasure to have you alongside me for the first time ever, I think, in commentary. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've been in the commentary box together.
I think it's the first time in a while, Smeggy, since the last time. It's been only one time since I've been in the commentary box with you, but yeah, no, it's great to be with you for today, and looking forward to today's race for sure.
Well, we're looking at a very interesting qualifying because it's raining, but clearly it's not raining hard enough, so then drivers are on the intermediate tyre. Everyone is on the slicks, and everyone is on the soft tyre bar Arba. He's down in 9th place on a set of mediums, which is very interesting. In these sort of conditions, you want to be on the grippiest tyre, but he's on a set of mediums. We'll see how he fares. Lopez is our first driver on a flying lap. He's the first driver to meet these conditions head on. And he was very sideways there at the exit of turn 1. Comes around turn 2 to turn 3. Gently on the brakes, second gear, gently on the throttle. There's a yellow flag coming out. I think that's United Bosnia. He's the only racing point on track. Lopez, he will come around turn 4. At the moment, everyone appears to be behaving themselves. No incidents as of yet. Conditions look worsening, KD, or do you think it'll stay like this for a while?
I think it's going to probably improve a little bit slightly. It doesn't seem to be wet enough to at least be going to intermediates, but Nicholas just said the first lap with a 109.3.
That's about
not surprising, especially
7 seconds slower to where I imagine these guys would be. I imagine these guys will be setting mid-2s in qualifying in pure dry conditions, in proper dry conditions. But yeah, these guys are a lot slower at the moment. Bummers and
it doesn't surprise me either.
Bersey on a flying lap in the Renault. He's coming around turns 9 and 10. Now, one of the best things about the Red Bull Ring, because it's such a short lap, qualifying tends to be quite competitive in the dry. In these conditions, I have absolutely no idea. At the moment, as United Bosnia jumps to the top of the table with a 9-1. So that suggests to me that the conditions may be improving. Found 2/10 over Nicholas, who is our current championship leader. Nicholas, though,
improved as well.
Yeah, so
by 6/10.
So yeah, 108.7. So, and there we go. Andy's done a 108.6. So the conditions must be improving, surely. Either that, or people are just adapting to the conditions.
Yeah, I think the conditions should start to improve to be more dry, I think, as we go into the later part of qualifying.
Who's that Alfa Romeo? It must have been Lopez. Lopez completely spun around at the final turn there in the Alfa Romeo. Kitten Pettis went third faster, so McLaren 1-3 at the moment. Bodhog jumps up to 6th place with a 10 flat. Barmer jumps up to P3 with a 9 flat. Lunacy on a set of mediums. This must feel horrible in these conditions. I don't know about you, KD, but I absolutely hate these conditions where it's not wet enough so then you go onto the intermediate tyre, but it's not dry enough so then the slick tyre works correctly. I honestly hate these conditions so much.
I would completely agree with you there. It has to feel absolutely dreadful around there. I mean, look at the telemetry. Yeah, Lunacy, compared to the soft time, he was about 2 or 3 seconds slower than, as you can see on the screen now. Yeah, 2-3 seconds slower than what Swarner did, or well, even Andy Wu now. But I call him Swarner because that's what he used to be. But that's how I know him by. But that condition, the conditions for the mediums, it's a no-go right now. You have to wait a little bit longer if you're gonna at least do a proper flying lap on those tires. But also, Fenrique is purple through the first sector. Yeah.
Well, right on board with the Brazilian. It seems like Brazilians are pretty good in the wet, as it turns out. We'll see what Fenrique can do. Comes around turn 6, heading towards the end of the second sector, into turn 7 and 8. Purple to the second sector. Doesn't use too much of the curve.
Well.
Arba, hello. With a 7-1.
Oh, hello, Arba. Yeah,
so
7-1.
And it has stopped raining here at the Red Bull Ring, so conditions are definitely improving. Fenrique will jump to the top of the table with a 6 flat. So, from how it's looking at the moment, I reckon we're going to see a lot of shenanigans at the end of the session with drivers pouring out of the pits at the last minute when the conditions are the most ideal. So we might see a fair amount of chaos when we get to the end of the qualifying session here at the Red Bull Ring. Bodhog goes second fastest with an 8.6, and that's on 3 lap old soft, so the conditions are definitely improving, without a doubt.
Also to note, Bodhog was actually quickest through the first sector, but Fenrique was quickest through the last 2 sectors by nearly 3/10 in the second and 1/10 in the last sector. So, yeah, It does show the conditions are starting to slightly improve. Like I said earlier, you would have to wait a little bit later on for the conditions to improve, and as you can see, it's no drops, and definitely the track is less greasy, as you can see as well. As I'm also right on my end, I'm also right along with Bodhog. As you can see, there's no grease marks whatsoever on the racetrack.
And now with conditions becoming a bit better, we'll probably enter a sort of mellow period in qualifying. So just to ask KD, first time in the commentary box with me, and is this your first time in the com box for Contest of Speed as well?
For Contest of Speed, yes. I've always been a driver. Raced in last season in the Racing Point in AM1 with Bean, and you've probably seen me race a couple of times in the Red Bull. I'm a third driver for Red Bull. The main reason is just because of I've had school time that would basically interfere with the racing, but I've had a couple of weeks where it doesn't interfere, so that's also why I've also raced a couple times, but also why I'm in the commentary box as well.
Watching over the racetrack, not just one. But what's your opinion of the racetrack here at Red Bull Ring? Because this is a pretty solid racetrack. I wouldn't say it's a great driver's circuit, though.
I'm in between with the Red Bull Ring.
Interesting.
I'll hold that thought for a minute because JCK went to Paul with a 104.0. But back to my thoughts of the track. I probably would say it's a good track. I like it. It's a fun little short track. It's definitely a DRS or a train track as well, kind of similar to what Silverstone is. But In my opinion, though, it's kind of weird if I say it like this, but I kind of take it as the Talladega of Formula One because it's just, you get certain groups, and then it's just close DRS racing most of the time. Well, depending on the skill gap as well. Oh, hello, Lunacy.
Jumps to the top of the
103.6.
3C. Yeah, I imagine we'll see some people jump up to the top when the conditions are getting better and better and better. We'll get a more ideal gauge of who is where at the end of the session, when the conditions are at the most ideal. But yeah, I completely understand what you're getting at with the idea. Oh dear, as Nicholas found, who was that on the racetrack? One of the AlphaTauris, had to be JRN going into the pits. Nicholas still goes to the top, but he almost collided with the AlphaTauri there at pit entry at turn 9. Very nice.
I didn't get a good look. I wonder if I didn't get a good look. I wonder if there was some sort of impediment there, but I mean, regardless, he's at the top. But maybe we'll have to see what everything else has to say. Here comes R-Bar, then the Renault coming around the final turn, and he goes to the top of the table by 2 100ths. And scratch that with Enrique going with a 102.7 in Mercedes-Benz.
This is where we should have seen these guys, if it was dry right at the beginning of the session. We will see these mid to high 2s being set. The Stone Tower doing a 32.4. Just off experience, that's probably not an ideal time currently. Ooh, about 30 seconds off the pace of the leader. He just made a mistake. He'll do a better lap. He must have made it in the first sector because he just gained 27 seconds in the first sector.
I think he might have been impeded by AmRam there. AmRam
just got a bit sideways.
He didn't get out of the way. Yeah, he didn't get out of the way though at turn 3. That might have impeded a little bit of Prezzo's time. But yeah, looking more at the TAS data, Nicholas was quickest to the first sector, but then he lost at least a couple of tenths through the middle sector, and then the final sector he lost 3 tenths. So he lost a good chunk of time through there to Enrique. So he could have been at least in 102s. I reckon if he would have kept that lap clean.
And Andy's just jumped up to second place with a 3 flat. The Stone Tower's about to finish his lap. Does a 3.9, goes 6th fastest.
No, make it
7th fastest.
Because Better's gone up to 5th. Yeah. I think Prezzo, though, could have improved that time a little bit more if he didn't have the Ferrari in the way.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he'll know that. He'll go back into the pits and just say he knows where he needs to find the time. Predominantly in the second sector, as Bean invalidates his lap at turn 8, cutting too much there. Oh, and he's going to try and go into the pits, and I believe that was JRN who just went around him, around the outside. AlphaTauri on 3-lap-old softs.
Yeah, interesting. Is he lagging for you? Is he lagging for you on my end? Because he was lagging a little bit.
A bit left and right, and I wouldn't say it's nothing major at this stage. He looks pretty solid. Bodhod on a flying lap coming out to turn 1. Heading towards the brief left-hand kink of turn 2. Yes, this little kink is an official corner on the track map. Then we go into turn 3, and he's up by 2.5 tenths of a second, coming out of turn 3. DRS open, up through the gears. Hitting top gear, we'll hit over 320 kilometers an hour. When we go into turn 4, second gear, third gear, 4th, 5th, now through turn 5. And then turn 6. Down to 5th gear, rides the curve nicely. Uses all of the curve on the outside. Around turn 7. Then turn 8. Purple to the second sector as well. I'm not sure how legit that is. We'll wait and see. Around the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Turns 9 and 10. Takes it quite nicely. DRS open. Up to the line. Sets a 3.7. Goes 8th fastest. So, we're now coming towards the pointy end of qualifying. Everyone, more or less, will be preparing themselves to set their final flying lap. And with this track, because it has so few corners, you really can't make a mistake at any of them. Otherwise, you just lose too much time. You can see everyone's very, very close together. From second down to ninth, it's spread by a second. And I imagine that gap will come down quite a bit once everyone can set their best lap time.
Well, for Enrique, just went purple through the first sector as well. So I think this is, I would imagine his final lap as well. I've got the revving glitch, and I do not want to listen to his onboard.
Fair enough.
Disgusting.
Fortunately, I don't have it just yet. It's coming around turns 7 and 8. Oh, it's curved quite nicely. Heading up and over the crest towards turn 9. Quite a tricky turn. You can see he used the curve on the outside just to try and open up the corner. Around the final turn, turn 10. DRS open up to the line. Doesn't improve. Now, he's got the flashing fuel icon, so he is low on fuel, so...
Yeah. He lost time in the middle sector compared to what he did in the first sector. The first sector, not first sector, first time he did, proper time, he lost about nearly 2/10 on that lap. From that middle sector. So that cost him quite a bit.
Current championship leader, COS Nicholas on a flying lap. Current best a 3.250. Currently fourth fastest. Got 5 different teams in the top 5 at the moment. Mercedes, McLaren, Renault, Red Bull, and the Racing Point of United Bosnia.
Nicholas up by 2 100ths.
Not a lot, but every 100th of a second counts, because if he can maintain that sort of pace, he may be able to overtake Arbar in third place. He pulls out of the lap. Interesting.
Yeah, he abandoned it. Yeah, he wasn't too happy, I don't think. Must have messed up somewhere in the final sector.
Indeed.
Arbar, though, right along, up by 7 100ths in the first sector. Yellow flags? What's that for? I think that's an AlphaTauri. Yeah, that's JRN. Going very slowly. Oh, he's out of fuel, that's why.
I see. Well, maybe
he has to get out of the way.
We'll see a AlphaTauri lawnmower. Not quite. He's just off the racetrack.
No,
off the racing
he's
line.
way too slow.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Way too slow to be a lawnmower.
Arbar purple. We'll see what he can do in the final sector.
Oh, but he's got traffic ahead of him.
Oh, and dear. Well, he's got enough time to finish this lap and set another one, so he does cross the line, and he will be able to set another lap. He did improve too by 7,000ths of a second, even though he did have. Oh,
he aborts it. I think he was too close to AMRAM. That was another problem. No, United Bosnia goes third quickest with a 103.0.
And that just gets beaten by Nicholas. He's second fastest with a 2.9.
Just 2/10 off of Enrique.
Yeah, Arbar's session is done. So is Kitten Peters. Bodhod's is done.
Bean goes quickest.
With a 2.707. So Bean pulling the lap right out of the bag last minute. Beating Fenrique by 45 thousandths of a second. JCK is on a flying lap. Current personal best, a 1 minute 4 flat. He's up by almost 3/10 of a second in the second sector. Now's turn 9.
He got away with.
How
did he get away with that?
But he had to squarely exit, and he actually backs off.
Yeah. No, he ran out of fuel. No, he didn't. He ran out of fuel.
I swear I saw him slam on the brakes.
Oh, well, the fuel icon was on, so I assumed that he ran out. But anyway.
But yeah, I have a feeling he wants to start outside the top 10 and perhaps try an alternate strategy.
Probably, yeah.
Rather than start on the soft tyre.
But
there we go.
Good performance from the Red Bull boys. 1-3. Not to be too biased, as I am a Red Bull driver as well, but hey, that's really good for them. Enrique in second, though, splitting the Red Bulls. And then Andy Wu, I'd probably say right now, is the best of the rest right now. I know from what I've seen in my time racing as well, that Red Bull and Mercedes are basically the top teams in the constructors, and then I probably say McLaren and Renault are like the best of the rest in terms of the constructors. Yeah,
I'd agree with
talented field for sure.
And there is an Alfa Romeo leaving the pit lane for some reason. That was very odd to see. But there we go. Qualifying over here at the Red Bull Ring, it is SWM Bean starting on pole position, as I said, by 45 thousandths of a second over Fenrique in P2. Nicholas in third, Andy in fourth, United Bosnia in fifth, Arbar in sixth, Barmer in seventh, Kittenpetter in eighth, Lunacy P9, and Bodhod rounds out the top 10. 1 second separates first down to 10th place. Then we have the Stone Tail, JCK, Bursey, Clay Funk, Amram, JRN, and Lopez will start at the back of the field in 17th place. Now, KD, if you started outside the top 10, what would you be inclined to do? Would you still start on the soft compound tyre if it was a completely dry race, or would you gamble perhaps starting on the mediums or even the hard tyre for that matter?
Let's see. If you were like, let's say 11th through 15th, medium tire is the way to go. Well, actually, I would say 11th through 17th is medium tires to start off, and then maybe if you're below that, go to the hard tire and see what you can pay off. See if a safety car can pay off for you. It is a bit of a work, though, obviously, to get up the field in Austria. I can understand that, especially if you're not on the soft compound tire, because that is definitely a tire that can work out quite a bit. But outside the top 10, I'd probably say just go for the mediums from if you're 11th to 17th at least. That's just a safer option.
Incredibly overcast here at the Red Bull Ring. Very dark, very cloudy, so we may see wet weather play a part in this race. And if we do, we may be able to work out when it comes about, depending on what tyre the drivers outside the top 10 decide to start on. Because if they elect to start on the soft compound, all of them, then it suggests to me that we'll have wet weather about lap 10 through 15, somewhere around there. We'll have a look in just a moment, though. Drivers will set off on their formation lap, and we'll look at the tail. Okay, interesting. So obviously everyone inside the top 10 starting on the soft compound, but outside of it, the Stone Town starting on the medium, same with JCK alongside. Bursey and Clayfunk also starting on the mediums. MRAM and JRN taking a gamble, starting on the soft compound tyre. They'll be planning to overtake the 4 cars ahead on the medium compound and try and join the top 10 train that is probably going to form. And then Lopez at the back of the field in 17th place, starting on the medium compound. So 5 drivers on the mediums, 12 drivers on the softs, no one on the hard tyre.
And Clay Funk and Amram have collided. Gotta love when
I hope they got some temperature into their tyres, otherwise they're going to be sitting ducks at the start. See it too often.
Clay Funk would be more of a sitting duck because he's on the medium tire.
He's on the medium compound, you're right. Those tyres will feel like concrete. They just won't have any grip in them. No, you see this a lot on formation laps, just people coming together, and yeah, it's not great. But oh well, we'll see what they can do off the start. But everyone's coming around the final couple of corners. This is one of the better things about the Red Bull Ring, because it's such a short lap. Formation laps take bugger all time. Unlike, I don't know, Spa, where it takes an eternity to do a formation lap.
Hey, in Spa, that's what you get for being the longest track on the F1 calendar.
That's what you get when you're 7 kilometers long. Honestly.
Exactly.
It's just... formation laps take forever. So does safety car periods. They take forever as well. But everyone's lined up. Everyone's ready to race. Bean on pole position on the racing line. Fenrique, he has the inside line in P2, but he's not on the racing line, so shouldn't get the grip. Off the start, we have 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. Now Bean gets a pretty solid start. So does Fenrique. He shows the nose into turn 1. He keeps it there, but Bean stays out in front. The rest of the field make their way through turn 1. We had a Renault off the track. I think that was Bursey, just briefly off the racetrack. around turn 2, up to the hairpin at turn 3. Fenrique looking. Andy definitely looking down the inside of turn 3.
Contact. Oh, there's damage. I think the Alpha Tauri's got damage.
Oh dear.
I think Bama and JRN have damage. Or some. No, it's not. I'm trying to figure out who that was. I saw end plates fly off though. As the street cars go through and press into turn
Ferrari
4.
off the racetrack.
Yeah, that's
JCK.
What on earth were those guys doing?
Not sure. There's an end plate flew off there too. I saw that at turn 4. So there was some end plate that flew off some car. But yeah, these guys, they're not mucking around. They want to move up through the field. And there we go. JRN does have damage. I think you're right, KD. And into the pits goes United Bosnia. Ooh, he must have damage as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he got quite collected in that three-way scrap at turn 4. That was very interesting to see.
Yeah, so a few collisions on the first lap. It's resulted in 2 cars diving into the pit for a wing change. But out in front, it's pretty controlled. Bean leading the way, Fenrique in second. Andy with the big send at turn 3. He's in 3rd place. With our championship leader, Nicholas in 4th, Arbar in 5th. Then it's a bit of a gap to Lunacy in P6. I have to say, Lunacy made up a few positions off the start. He's made up 3, in fact, the most out of any driver inside the top 10. Amram's made up 4, but he's in 11th place.
Yeah, that's a great start for Lunacy, definitely.
Absolutely.
9 to 6.
And if he can catch up to Arbar and get in that group, then he's in a very good place to try and score solid points. But he needs to try and catch up to the group in front.
Yeah, Stone Tell also, he's up into 9th place on the medium tire, so he's up in a pretty decent spot at the moment as well.
But he's got Kittenpetter and Amram on the back of him, so he's got company that he has to deal with, and both drivers behind are on the soft compound tire, so they're going to be mighty quick right now. Of course, if he can hold position and keep the 2 cars behind, then he'll give himself the best opportunity to try and stay inside the top 10. Now, no one's really close to one another just yet. Everyone, I guess, is still trying to sort themselves out, try and find the groove, find the rhythm. But our current top 2, Bean and Fenrique, are starting to really pull away.
Yeah, they're pulling away from Swarner at the moment, and then he's under threats right now from Nicholas and Arbar at the moment too as well. So they'll be under threat from DRS from those 2. Ooh, Andy Good goes a little bit wide there at the final corner. That might be a bit of a warning there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a few warnings in this race. Tend to collect them around those final couple of corners. If you run a bit too wide, the game is quite harsh. As Nicholas is lining up a move.
Down the inside into turn 3. On the brakes. Deep into the brakes. Oh, he parks. Oh, damage. There's damage. I think to the McLaren. Yeah, Nicholas.
McLaren looks good, but it's Arbar.
It's Arbar. No, he's got damage.
So, Nicholas got the move done, and he sort of moved in front of Andy, and Andy sort of had to check up a bit. And Arbar just had nowhere near enough time to try and check up to the McLaren and just ran straight up the back of him. So,
I noticed Nicholas parked the car at the exit, at the apex of turn 3.
Yeah.
I'm not
and Arbar's diving in.
Yeah, I would figure that.
Oh,
I don't know if that'll be looked. Oh!
That was close. That was very close.
Too close. Yeah.
See, that's one of the few grimaces I have about this circuit. The pit entry is god awful. It really is.
It is terrible. I agree.
You have to slow down for it, and it's right at the apex of a very, very fast corner. So you have cars that aren't going into the pits, come up straight up behind you, and it's very terrifying. Unfortunately, Lunacy didn't run up the back of the gearbox of Arbar's Renault. Meanwhile, out in front, we do have a battle for the lead that I believe is about to take place.
Closed. Yeah, Frederick is closed more on S double and B.
If you are in If you are in Enrique's position, where will you look to overtake? What will be your hot spot?
Turn 3, as Lunacy gets a 3-second time penalty, the first one to get a 3-second time penalty. And probably like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more coming, but... yeah, no, turn 3 would be the most ideal spot, or down the back straight towards turn 4. Would be an ideal overtaking opportunity.
Because that's one of the interesting things about turn 3, is that as soon as you pass, the guy behind will get DRS.
Oh, Bean defends the inside line there, switches over, and parks the car absolutely spectacularly there. But he's also going to have Enrique still behind him with DRS, and he's going to have to go the long way around this time. Into turn 4, side by side, into turn 4, wheel to wheel.
Yeah, United is just
position.
fun.
As Bama's got ahead of Lunacy for 5th place.
Yeah, no, Bean defending the inside line hard, and as a result, Enrique unable to get by just yet. I have a feeling you're right though. Turn 3 will definitely be the place to try and pass. But it seems that Bean can really nail that final sector. He pulls away quite a bit. And Enrique has to use the DRS to try and close back in again. See if he can get turn 1 pretty spot on. He does.
He's going to use overtake as well. See if he can get closer to the Red Bull. Gain. Is he going to go the inside? He's going to go inside this time. But does he stick the nose in?
Bean gives him space.
Yeah. Yeah, Bean's pretty much making that Red Bull pretty wide as possible from the way it looks. And yellow flags, and that is...
Bosnia,
yep.
He had a spin at the final turn. He's lost him a whole heap of time, and it just looks like he's had a moment there at turn 8. Yes, the Great Wall of Red Bull that is currently SWM Bean, holding up Enrique, it seems. But you saw there at turn 3, he used very little overtake, so I guess Enrique isn't really in a hurry to try and make this move stick. He's willing to just be a bit patient. Just let this battle sort of happen naturally.
Yeah, that's kind of unlike for Enrique, because I know he can be really aggressive at times, but yeah, no, that's a bit of a different characteristic from Enrique. But
here we go again.
Out for him just fine. And here we go into turn 3. Bean goes the inside this time. Again.
He'll get the traction too. Oh, beautiful.
Oh. Wow. That was great traction out of that hairpin at turn 3.
Yeah, Bean just sort of got outplayed there. That was a spectacular bit of driving there from Enrique, using the racing line. He had complete grip on the outside and just powered past Bean, no problem.
Oh, Steph, that was just good. It's just great battle between these two at the moment. I think wouldn't be surprised if there's more to come.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, Enrique's got lots of like you mentioned, he's got quite a VRS to his disposal, and you can see the margin there of that is like nearly 40% of the margin of VRS deployment.
Now,
meanwhile, Nicholas is starting to close just a little bit. It's now 1.7 seconds, so he's probably going to help for maybe those two to battle so he can get in this fight, and maybe the same story with Andy Wu.
Because then Bersey is past KCK for 11th place. Yeah, Andy has dropped off a little bit from Nicholas. They used to be about half a second apart. They've dropped back to about 7 or so tenths of a second. But he hasn't completely and utterly fallen away. It's just that Nicholas has turned up the heat a little bit. Just started to set some really solid lap times, and as you mentioned, he's starting to close in on the leaders. Meanwhile, behind we have a battle for 5th between Barma, Lunacy and Bodhod. Kitapeta isn't too far behind as well in P8 as Clay is off the racetrack. P14, he just briefly went off, bringing out a yellow flag. Seem to be a few scraps going on here in the midfield. So we have a battle for 5th and a battle for the lead taking place as of right now.
Bama leading that pack of the 4 cars for 5th place as Lopez gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings.
Mm-hmm.
I understand he's still on the wheel, though, I think, so
Yes.
fair credit to him to at least give him an effort. But here goes Baldo on the inside of Lunacy.
Now, Lunacy
turn
won't
3.
fight this. He'll just let Bodhod go. It's quite a Lunacy thing to do.
I think also those two are in a car as well, so they're probably communicating with each other about that, so wouldn't be surprising if that was the case. But yep, Baldo goes to 6th place now and now has to chase down Bama.
Yeah. But yeah, with Lunacy, he's a very passive sort of driver. You know, if he recognises that the car behind is quicker, he sort of just lets him by. But his consistency and the fact that he doesn't really get into trouble really helps him. As Kitten Petter is all over the back of him now. Up and over the crest towards turn 9. Can't get the move done here just yet, Petter. He'll have to be a bit patient. Perhaps wait until turn 3 to try and make a move stick. And the Stokes Tau still in the top 10 in P9 on those medium tyres. He's only just behind the group in front, so this is looking like a solid race for Tau. Last week at Australia, he was looking at a solid result, and then he binned it at turn 2. Quite unfortunate to see. He was looking at a top 6 finish, I think, at the time, a potential podium, in fact. Now, unfortunately, he threw it away.
As JRN gets a penalty, I remember watching that race too. Yeah, I was pretty saddened by that. I thought Kreza would have at least got a podium finish.
Sector 2
looked
yellow.
Like to be, because I remember the cars ahead. Yeah, can't see. It's just localized yellows. But no, I remember that penalties, and he didn't have a penalty at the time, so he could have got them on penalties. I think it was the McLarens, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was the McLarens and the Red Bull of Nicholas in that scrap. And then Stone Town, they introduced himself to the battle because he had better tyres, I think, at the time. I think he went long in the first stint and he went on to the softer compound in the second stint, and he caught up. But unfortunately, he had that little accident. As a result, he, well, initially spun out and lost time, but then he did it again and crashed out of the race. Quite unfortunate. Yeah. Bodhod into 5th place now, overtaking Barmer. He now leads this train of cars. JCK overtakes Bersey. Yeah, clawing his way through the field.
Bodhod's someone that's that I know doesn't really have the best of luck on Formula 1, but he's doing good at the moment right now, right along in 5th place.
Into the pits we go.
He's going to the pit lane. Yeah. So
1, 2, 3 of them all in.
Yeah, they're coming in.
Oh, right. Kitten Petter! He almost went straight up the back of Lunacy there. He was millimetres away. He was that close, I reckon he would have smelled the gearbox oil. Seriously. Onto the hard tyre.
Yeah. Interesting. So hard tyres to the end of the race.
Oh, that was absolutely pinpoint from Kitten Petter. I have no idea how he didn't just clatter up the backside of Lunacy there. No,
I'm not sure either.
And he actually got out in front of him because of the pit stops.
Yeah. Just luckily he didn't get any sort of damage. So, yeah, now Stonetail's moved up to 5th after those pit stops, and Amram's all over the back of him at the moment. Well, not that far back, but he's close. But top 4 have yet to pit. Obviously, they're going to be stretching to the median tire to the end of the race. And the ideal stop, obviously, would be on lap 14 to 16 if they're going to be doing that.
With Enrique, he's got Bean up behind him, 4 tenths. And Bean has got a tremendous amount of ERS next to his name. 90%. So, Bean's playing the sensible game as well. But it's not like Fenrique has spent all of his. He's got 75%. He's got a fair amount of resources in his back pocket. So, this battle for the lead is going to be a very interesting one, it seems. But Bean just playing a patient game at the moment. Just biding his time.
And almost pretty much the top 4 are setting identical, almost similar lap times. The last laps Enrique 107.8, Bean 107.7, and then his teammate 107.7 as well. But out of the four, Andy Wu was the quickest on the last lap with a 107.3.
Into the pits. Bean, he's in.
Bean going in for, he's going for the undercut. Oh, JRM's retired.
Uh-oh. Now, this is a thing in F1 2020 where retired cars in the pit lane have a chance to stop, come to a dead stop at pit exit. We'll just see if that happens or not. I have seen this happen in the past.
Yeah, car's coming out actually.
Thank goodness for that. Well, even if ghosting is on, the AI will not drive through the other car. So...
Oh, it's not ghosted. Oh! Thankfully, Bean had gone around that. Otherwise, that could have been disastrous.
It was locking up as well, the AI. I saw that. The AI was locking up in order to come to a stop. And Kitten Petter is down in 15th and he spun at turn 1.
Spun at turn 1.
I wonder if he was helped or something. That's entirely possible.
Yeah. Let's see. Keep our eyes on the top 3. Into the pits comes Enrique and Nicholas and Andy Wu.
Yep, so top 3 are in.
And the top and Bean is coming around the final, the end of the middle sector. He's
got JCK right in front of him though. Needs to get by ASAP. Doesn't want to be held up too much. Though JCK is quite a capable driver. R-bar 3-second time penalty. Here comes just leaves the Ferrari standing. Oh my word. Round turn 1. That's a warning. Without a doubt, that's a warning.
That's a cut and a half, Bean.
Man,
the undercut does.
Imitating Tiamat Marduk to a T there. That was absolutely spot on. That's 100% Benjamin Daly right there. Berzi and Lopez, P5 and 6. They've got Nicholas on the back of them. Nicholas wants to get a move on. He's got a nose there beside Berzi. He's now fully alongside.
Oh, looks up. He gets it done though, ahead of the Renault. But yeah, Bean's got quite a good margin though between himself and Enrique.
He's also got a car.
Enrique has now to deal with JCK.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that. Has to deal with JCK.
Yeah. So that undercut from Bean has worked a treat. I wonder how much ERS has he spent. He has spent quite a bit of it, Bean, in his pursuit. Well, rather his excuse me, his attempt to run away from Enrique.
Yeah, so that's the fastest lap of the race, 1:05.6. Now he's got Stone Tal to deal with. First time I've actually seen Prezzo on the top of the table in this league.
It's going to be for a brief moment, it seems. Side by side, and
only one time shine there, Prezzo.
Yeah.
But now he loses the position there too.
A bit like Antonio Giovinazzi from 2019. Later, the Alfa Romeo driver leading a couple laps at Singapore. It was the first time for a car that wasn't a top 3 team, that being Mercedes, Ferrari or Red Bull, to lead a lap in that season, just demonstrating how ridiculous those top 3 cars were compared to the rest of the field. Enrique, he makes mincemeat of the Stone Tal as well, so he goes into 2nd place and resumes his chase of SWM Bean.
Andy Wood, though, has lost a significant amount of time to Nicholas.
Perhaps he had a hard time making his way past the traffic. Inside. Lopez is fighting Andy here.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's Lopez. I'm sorry, I thought that was Baudet.
No, it was Lopez. Which makes me a bit interested because Lopez has no real reason to fight Andy right now. His battle is with actually no, sorry, Berzi. I got the Renaults confused there. His battle is with Berzi, so he doesn't really need to fight Andy at all. I mean, by doing that sort of move, you're only fighting for pride. Oh, it's like, oh, I overtook you at turn 3 this one time, even though we're not actually in this battle together. We're on completely different strategies.
Right.
We've got a completely different race. So, yeah, I think it would have been more sensible for Lopez just to stick in behind the McLaren, just let the McLaren help him out a bit, tow him along, as Lopez gets a 3-second time penalty. Oh.
I guess I got confused at one point where it said Bottas got a 3-second penalty. That's why I thought we were. That's why I thought I was with.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
So my apologies there, but yeah. Anyway, here comes Nicholas around the outs. Oh, oh, they make contact.
Yikes,
JCK
yikes,
Nicholas.
yikes.
What is that?
Yeah, that. Oof.
Yeah, Nicholas.
Fighting hard, these fellas.
Outside of JCK, nearly turned him.
They're properly fighting hard, these guys. They're really pushing. But, oof. That could have been nasty. That could have been really nasty. Fortunately, it isn't.
Yeah, he almost turned him. I mean, he's not even fighting him. That's the thing. Alright, so now here goes Nicholas around the stone tail to the inside of turn 9. Stone tail just gives him the position there.
I think that's only fair. Like, I think Stone Towel understands his situation, so just lets him through.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the Stone Tower actually gets DRS as well, so then he can keep JCK at bay, who he is battling with in terms of strategy, and now also track position.
Yeah.
So, and I just got a message from the Twitch chat from Conno J Loft saying that it was contact with Barmer. That was the reason why Kitten Pettis spun round at turn 1. So, according to that, he was aided in that spin.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was questioning if it was contact between him and Banna, and that definitely proved my answer.
There you go.
Thanks, Conno.
Yeah, we still have plenty of laps to go, and the battle for the lead is very much on. Fenrique is well within a second of SWM Bean as they head round the final 2 turns on the racetrack to end lap 20 to begin lap 21. Similar age tyres, nothing between them. In terms of ERS, they're effectively on the same as well, so it's going to be a straight up dogfight as the Stone Towel into the pits of the medium tyre. Lopez follows in as well. What's the compound going to be? It's the soft.
Yep, soft tires to the end of the race. That can make it to the end.
Oh, hello. Turn 4, Fenrique looks. Doesn't commit to the move. Probably a wise decision. He was just a little bit too far back. I reckon if he was a yard or two closer, he would have went for the move. But rather wisely, doesn't go for it, stays in behind.
Yeah, and they pulled away from Nicholas a little bit too, obviously with those two fighting. Also, there was something I was going to mention too, is because of that fight with with JCK, Nicholas lost a huge chunk of time to the top 2. That's why he's like 4.7 seconds down. He was like at less than that before that little scrap into the pits. Speaking of him, he goes into the pits now, JCK.
Now, he's going to lose out a bit to the Stone Towel, I imagine. The Stone Towel's got clear air, so he's able to push pretty hard on that soft tyre initially. As Fenrique and Bean are having a scrap. Hello, you two. What are you up to? So Fenrique tried to make a move on Bean. Couldn't make it stick. Ooh. They're now side by side at the entry to turn 4. Looking around the long way. Can't make it stick just yet. Bean goes deep. Holds on to the lead for now. Round turn 5. Sitting right behind the gearbox. Into turn 6. Can't make it move just yet. Just follow the leader sort of stuff. Try not to lose too much time. Try and put up with the dirty air if you can. Go up and over the crest here. Towards turns 9 and 10. 6th gear. Nice. Very nice. Well within the white lines. Not getting warnings. Very much under control here.
Rick is close to him now. See if he gets him into turn 3 with DRS. He's using overtake as well, slightly.
Here we go.
Closing more.
Whoa!
He back. Now he cuts left.
Oh, it's
he parks the car on the
contact
inside.
between the two.
Those two.
They're side by side on the back straight, heading towards turn 4. Fenrique on the outside. He has the racing line. And he gets in front at the braking zone. And Bean elects to not go deep here, to just slot in behind Fenrique for now. So the Brazilian has retaken the lead with a bit over 13 laps to go. And with this battle, Nicholas has closed in half a second as the Stone Tower spun.
He's had an incident or a spin or something.
He's now behind JCK by 2.7 seconds. Andy and Arba battling. Arba's going to have a hard task trying to get to the end on these tyres, and look at that, I think he's coming into the pits. He is.
Yeah, he has to concede. He's going to have to go in for soft tyres.
Yep.
So Bodo will retake 5th place, of course.
Meanwhile,
back at the front.
Bean, does he go for a move? No. Sit in behind, play a patient game. DRS open here on the back straight, heading towards turn 4. I don't think he'll be close enough to try and pass just yet. Oh, he goes deep on the brakes, so.
Yeah.
Almost ran up the rear end of the Mercedes-Benz, but he keeps it out, but he keeps it out. Play Funk, a 3-second time penalty. Round turn 7. Then turn 8, the gap is 0.4 of a second. I reckon Bean might be close enough to attack at the exit of turn 10 utilising DRS. Let's have a look. Oh, but he misses the apex ever so slightly at turn 9. Does turn 10 pretty well, but he's lost about half a tenth of a second there. He'll close in a little bit.
Got DRS. Oh, goes way too deep there into turn 1. But still gets a good exit though. But I don't think he's close enough to make any sort of move. Just gonna play patient again.
Fenrique, he spent a fair amount of his ERS, Brazilian, so he needs to go and conserve just a little bit, so then he has enough to try and defend from Bean when we're coming towards the closing stages of the race.
And also, those two are also one warning as well, according to the task system.
Okay, so they've got an extra token in their back pocket in case if they make a mistake or if they need to be desperate. And by desperate, I mean really cutting some corners on the final couple of laps in order to try and gain position. So it'll be very interesting to see how the two drivers battling for the lead, not only to see how they fight each other, but to see how they use their resources when they're fighting each other, because ERS is going to play a factor, DRS is going to play a factor. The warnings are definitely going to be playing a factor if we see either driver gather any more. And then, of course, we have a penalty scenario. If they gather enough, that may play a factor in this race. And that may even bring Nicholas into the battle for the lead. So there's a lot of factors to consider here in this fight. It's not just a straightforward two-way dogfight at the front. So much more at play. Meanwhile, Lunacy is attacking Barmer. Oh, it's 3 wide actually. Or almost 3 wide. JCK down the inside. They're side by side, and JCK into 6th place. He's on these fresh, soft compound tyres. He's going to be incredibly rapid compared to the hard runners. I reckon he's going to swallow Bodhod here in just a second.
Yep, he is really close to him at the moment. But the lead's still in the same gap. Still 3/10 between Bean and... Oh, Bean went sideways there at the exit of turn 1. He lost time. He's lost about 6/10 out of that one corner.
JCK finally makes the move stick. He's into 5th. So back to this. Unfortunately, he's still within DRS range. And that's a really important thing. He needs to stay here. But Fenrique needs to capitalize. He needs to push. Try and get him outside of the second range. Though Bean is clawing himself back within it. 8/10. He needs to stay within a second.
Nicholas is 3.2 seconds away, so he's gained about half a second over the course of this lap so far as well.
Man, a safety car right now would really dramatize this race. It really
I
would.
think cut that corner there. Is that a warning? Cut a little bit of that final turn. No, he didn't. Okay. I'm surprised. He cut quite a bit of that final turn. I thought it would be a warning, but no. He's lucky there.
With Enrique and Bean battling 1-2. Bean's closing in, utilizing the power of DRS. Gap is 0.6 of a second. Bersey, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Man, this is going to get really interesting once we hit the 30s in the lap count. I reckon these guys are really going to battle each other hard. Both of these guys, high quality drivers. They're going to race hard for the win. Sector 2 yellows. That is Lopez.
Oh, that's Lopez. Lopez. No, he spun around at the turn 3. Saw a scrap there. I don't know if he got into some sort of an incident with somebody, but yeah.
Kittenpetter and Bersey are currently side by side. They're still side by side through turn 5. And I reckon they're going to be side by side into 6. They are going to be side by side into 6. Come on, into turn 7. You can do it. Petter around the outside. Side by side into 8. Yes, they're side by side into 8. Now this is the tricky bit, fellas. 9 and 10. Can you go side by side through here? No. Petter pulls out. Rather wisely,
yeah.
he pulls out of that. Lunacy, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Arba on a charge. His target is Lunacy, looking down the inside at turn 3. Gets it done. Bodhod and Barmer battling sideways.
Dotel's in this fight too, as well.
On the back of it, yeah. Man, he'd be kicking himself.
What a send there from Bar.
Into P8.
That's a big send and a half. You got the move done though, cleanly. Fair enough there. Now he's got to deal with Bodhod and Bama. But up front though is getting spicy.
0.3 of a second.
He's closing more on that Mercedes-Benz on the outside into turn 3. And
gets it done
just before the braking zone.
But now Fenrique will have DRS to play with. He'll be able to save up his resources and play a smart game. Either that, or he's going to go at every opportunity that's given to him. Either or.
Alright, so we're back in this scrap for 6. That goes to the inside of Bama. Arbor goes to the inside of Bama as well.
And he has the inside line to Bodhod. He has better traction. Both have pretty much the same straight line speed.
Yeah, but he's got... Oh, can he get the move? Yes, he can. Double overtake there from Arbar.
Very good driving
done there from the Renna. Good recovery drive, though, nonetheless, after having damage on the opening laps, as Amro gets a 3-second penalty there for multiple warnings.
But yeah, I reckon the Stone Tail would be absolutely kicking himself. He was right there with JCK, who's currently in 5th. Stone Tail is in 10th. So that mistake really did hurt Tail's race. But he's on the back of this train on fresh, hard tyres as Amram runs really wide there at the final turn. Oh, as Stone Tail almost goes up the back end of Lunacy there at turn 1. That was very close indeed.
My goodness.
Bodhod's not giving up. Just in behind Arbor. Use the power of DRS to keep up with the Renault. And this will help out the Alfa Romeo tremendously in his battle against Barmer.
Nicholas is closing now. He is really he's getting close to DRS range with these two fighting.
It's not just a two-way fight anymore. It's a three-way scrap.
It's a three-way fight.
So with 5 to go, Bean leading the way, Fenrique in second, still fighting hard for the lead. But those two battling has resulted in a third driver potentially introducing himself to this battle. Man, oh man, oh man. And off the circuit is Lopez.
Lopez, yeah. Out the second to last corner.
Round turn 6. Coming to the end of the second sector. Berzier 3-second time penalty. Round turn 7, then turn 8. Gap is 6/10 and Nicholas is almost in DRS range. He is now. He just needs to stay within it round turn 9, and I think he has. He most certainly has. Now the Red Bulls can really big brain this to try and get a 1-2 finish. I have a feeling though they need to work together. Fenrique, he's got his back to the wall. He's all by himself.
Yellow flags. That's a Ferrari. AMRAM, yeah. AMRAM. He's got a little bit of a Ferrari lawnmower going there in the infield.
The Ferrari lawnmower.
Better than the Ferrari car. Well,
Cutting grass since 2020, because you might as well call that car a lawnmower. Exiting turn 4, round turn 5. From first to third, it's now under a second, so this is properly on. Sector 3 yellows, that is AMRAM. I think he might be retiring after the race.
Right.
Either that or he's going to pit for softs and try and get fastest lap, because why not? Might as well go for it. No, he's retiring.
he's giving up.
He's pulled out the white flag, surrendered,
alright,
given up.
So, 3 more laps to go into the race. It's
Round
pretty
turn
much
1.
2 Red Bulls versus a Mercedes.
This is basically sort of like a Verstappen Ricciardo when he was at Red Bull, and Hamilton because Bottas was nowhere, usually. And unfortunately for Alpine, he couldn't race with us tonight, so if he was here, he might have a 4-way scrap between both teams. Would have been quite interesting to see.
Probably would have agreed you there.
Fenrique not quite close enough to make any sort of inroads just yet, but he still has time. When they cross the line again, it'll be 2 laps to go. Effectively, he's got 6 overtaking opportunities in those 2 laps. Well, turn 1, turn 3 and turn 4. Do it twice. Got 6 opportunities. 3 overtaking spots a lap. So here we go. 2 to go. Lap 35 of 36 here at the Red Bull Ring. Heading up and around turn 1. Fenrique needs to try and get a good exit, which he does. He's even Steven with Bean at the exit. Closes in on the Red Bull.
Does he go for a move? Oh, Bean switches to the right. Fenrique has to go the long way.
And Nicholas is introducing himself to this, but doesn't get a great exit, loses time. Fenrique, though, using overtake. He's committing to this, I reckon. Down the inside, a late switch.
Oh! Nope, couldn't get the move done there. That was just last second switch there from the Mercedes.
Alright, so he can't do much through here. Neither Fenrique or Nicholas. They really can't do much. They just need to minimize mistakes and minimize time loss through here. Or Fenrique just went a little bit wide at the exit of 7, but he hasn't lost too much time. Round turn 9. And then turn 10. Strap yourselves in, folks. We've got a 3-way fight for the lead, and it's the final lap. Lap 36 of 36 here at the Red Bull Ring. Bean leads the way. Fenrique in second. Exiting turn 1. Fenrique using everything. So is Bean, I imagine. No, Bean isn't. He's not using overtake. Heading up to turn 3. Round the outside. It's a carbon copy of the lap before. Nicholas tries to get a nose in. Oh, in the bump! They bump, they touch. Off the racetrack goes Fenrique. They are side by side. And here comes Nicholas. Down the inside. Can't get it done. Fenrique. Round the long way at turn 4. Makes it stick. A spectacular move for the lead. And Nicholas down the inside. He's fighting his teammate. And off the road.
He's off to the grass. He loses
Fenrique's laughing. He can't believe it. The 2 Red Bulls have come together in the second sector. Fenrique can pull away here, so long as he nails these final 2 turns. He does.
He has it. No, he's got it. He's got it.
He will take the checkered flag here in Brazil. It is a Red Bull 2-3. Red Bull had all of the cards in their favour, but it's a Mercedes-Benz of Fenrique who comes out on top. Andy will cross the line in 4th place for McLaren. JCK in a fine 5th. From where he started on the grid, you'll be pretty pleased with that performance. Arbar in P6, a fine recovery. Bodhod 8th because of penalties. Barmer jumps up to 7th. Stonetal in 9th and Lunacy at the moment rounds out the top 10. And then we have a whole group of cars crossing the line now. Got Kittenpetter 11th, Bersey 12th, Clay Funk in 13th. Lopez will cross the line in 14th place, and United Bosnia, our final finisher, 15th on the final finishing sheet.
Wow, that was an eventful final lap.
And that wasn't caused by a safety car. That's one of the more impressive things about that fight. Sometimes we get these final lap scraps, but that's only because we had a safety car period to really bunch up the field. We didn't have that in today's race. We didn't have a safety car. We didn't have a virtual safety car. This is through raw pace and strategy. And we had 3 cars within a second of each other at the line. But a fine drive from Fenrique. I'm sure Alf would be pretty pleased with his performance. Red Bull, they'll be happy to have both cars on the podium, but I would assume they would have loved a 1-2 finish rather than a 2-3 finish.
Yeah.
There we go. A fantastic conclusion to a pretty solid race. Enrique taking victory, Bean in second, Nicholas in second, Bean in third, Andy in 4th, JCK 5th, Arbar 6th, Barmer in 7th, Bodhod 8th, Stonetal in 9th, and Lindsay rounds out the finishes. The point scoring finishes in 10th. Only 2 retirements from the race, Amram and JRM both voluntarily retiring in the pits. Yes, not a bad race at all here at Austria.
Great race overall. Is there interviews or nah?
I typically don't, purely because I don't have these guys on a friends list. Well, I have some of them, but not all of them. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Typically, I have just a brief discussion about the race, and we talk about next week. But for the most part, your comments about the group racing was quite correct, and I think a lot of people knew about this coming into Red Bull Ring, because yeah, typically you get sort of pack racing around here, and we definitely saw that tonight. Though there were some good charges back through the field. Arbar's probably one of the best out of the bunch. That charge up through the field after getting damage on lap 1, having to do a 2-stop, comes home in P6. Be pretty happy with the drive. He would have hoped for a better result, I'm sure, but he should be quite happy with himself with his comeback through the field after what happened between Nicholas and Andy at turn 3 and him just sort of going up the rear of the McLaren. But
yeah,
I somewhat enjoyed that.
Yeah,
what about
I
you,
did too.
KD?
Yeah, no, I did too. It was a very good race on the final lap overall. Great racing. Not too many shenanigans as far as the safety car or VSC happens, so that's also another good thing to see. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was really good to watch.
There we go. A fine finish to a pretty solid race, that was. Well then. Next week, where we're at next week, we go from Austria, I think it's Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Catalonia, yeah.
Barcelona, well, in real life we know it as a boring racetrack. It doesn't develop great racing in real life. But in the virtual world, I have seen it turn it on every so often, where we get some pretty crazy races. I wouldn't say we don't see a lot of overtaking at Barcelona, but because there are several parts of the racetrack where you can be easily caught out, most notably turn 9. the uphill right-hand sweeper in the second sector, I have seen many accidents at. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if next week we saw a fair bit of drama. And who knows, this might be the last ever race at Barcelona with this layout, because obviously it's undergone a layout change for the 2021 Formula One season. With Turn 10 sort of returning to its original sort of shape. Well, it sort of half follows its original shape. Not quite, it's a bit tighter than what it was originally. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to next week for sure for Barcelona. Before I send it off, KD, thank you very much for joining me in the comms box for your first ever COS race in the comms box as well. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you for having me. Definitely enjoyed it for sure.
Oh, I always like people coming in and helping out. Always a lot of fun. It's also nice to have someone to talk to as well. It gets pretty lonely up here, and I have to try and think up stuff on the fly, and it's not easy to do. But no, thank you very much for helping me out. But I think that will conclude this stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Dismay, my co-commentator for tonight, KD1997. And we'll see you next week for the Spanish Grand Prix at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Till then, goodbye.
Goodbye.